Hello and welcome to 50 Years Ago This Month. This time around, we're looking at the top 10 from Billboard's Hot 100 from August 16th, 1975.
Yeah.
We'll be doing a little bit of cherry picking from the top 40, but we got a great top 10 this time around. And we're starting off with Barry, Morris,
Oh,
and Robin.
yeah. It's the Bee Gees with Jive Talkin', which is on the this is Mount Rushmore stuff for the Bee Gees. This is
Yeah, main course from the main course album. And for a group that has put out some incredible albums in their time.
yeah.
Main Course is in the running for the top for number one, I think.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
Anyway, Jive talking. Um, the Bee Gees are coming off a kind of a dry spell um, for them,
Interestingly, yeah, it really, yeah, it's a kind of fallow period.
and they had not had many of those going into this, but yeah, the last big hit was How Can You Mend a Broken Heart? That was
Oh, yeah.
from 1971. So the last album they did didn't even get released. So Robert Stigwood of Robert Stigwood Organization, RSO, their record company, who also happened to be their manager,
Yeah.
suggested that they try a change of pace. And Eric Clapton, who had just finished an impressive comeback of his own after
It's true.
several years of heroin addiction that he had to get past. Thought he had just the answer. Um, Barry Gibb recalls, quote, Eric said, I've just made an album called 461 Ocean Boulevard in Miami. Why don't you guys go to America and do the same?
Yeah.
Maybe the change of environment will do something for you. I think it was really good advice. End quote. Morris attributes that advice to Robert Stigwood himself, saying that Miami would be a great new place to find a change of pace. Quote, Robert, showed us a picture on the cover of 461 Ocean Boulevard and said, you can rent that place and live there and record and get a suntan. We decided that it was our big chance to get serious about our music again. So we went out there and did main course. End quote.
They never really left Miami, right? I mean, it
I think
became,
I think Barry Gibb still lives
I
there.
think he still does. Yeah.
So Miami was very good to them, and they obviously fell in love with Miami. Um, so going to Miami meant that they would be recording at Criteria Studios.
Yeah, Criterion, yeah.
Criteria is huge. I had no idea, Steve, before
Oh,
doing this
okay.
research.
Yeah.
Criteria Studios meant nothing to me. The fact that it is one of the great studios of the 20th century, I was unaware of, but it
Yeah, it's
certainly is.
yeah, remarkably influential. And a studio that was kind of cutting edge in terms of technology. So yeah, it was the perfect landing spot for the Bee Gees, really.
Well, because it was one of the first studios with the 8-track recording capabilities, James Brown did "I Feel Good" there.
Right. Yeah, I mean it's unbelievable. I mean from the Bee Gees to James Brown to Mellencamp, you name it.
Oh
Just
man,
everybody worked there.
yeah, everybody
And over again
involved.
too. Yeah.
And once the Bee Gees discovered criteria for themselves, uh, they remained true to those studios for a
Yeah,
long
that's right.
time. The producer was Arif Mardin, also a huge guy. And I think we're going to have to talk about him when we do the behind the curtains on the geniuses at Atlantic Records.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's yeah, I mean, to say the least, yeah, this guy helped steer the ship
Oh man, yeah, he was
along with
very good.
Stigwood. I mean, yeah,
And in fact, he was the producer that got Clapton back on track.
yeah.
He produced that album.
Well, I think you can argue that he's the producer that kind of saved Clapton's life. I think that he was spiraling. I
Yeah,
mean,
very
Clapton has been
aggressively.
as basically just as admitted as such. Yeah.
And you can argue that he saved the Bee Gees' career.
Oh,
And
I think that's there's no debating that. It's it's hard to imagine them being able to hold it together much longer because they had a tremendous amount of, I mean, brotherly infighting. It was quite, you
yeah,
know,
Robin left the group for a couple of years.
yes, it was intense. And there was a real power struggle within the group. And without those hits, I mean, they just wouldn't have stayed together. They just, yeah. So this main course era, as you're suggesting, is an important. It is a vital and essential transition for the Bee Gees in terms of their career, and I think also their kind of personal relationship. It's a big deal.
Martin had produced their last album as well. But let me just talk a little bit more about him because he's
Yeah.
a fascinating guy. He began his career at Atlantic Records in 1963 as an assistant to Ahmed Ertegun's
Hmm.
brother, Desuhi,
Hmm.
and he worked there for over 30 years. And a number of the projects that he was working on was with the co-founders Ertegun and Jerry Wexler.
Hmm.
Um, in fact, Wexler, Martin, and the sound engineer, recording engineer Tom Dowd, were
Yeah, the one and
responsible
only. Yeah.
essentially for establishing the Atlantic sound. And that's what that's what the Bee Gees needed a shot of, right? And the idea was these
I think
guys,
that's right.
they have influences. They come from a place where they have some soul and some R&B, and we need to
Yeah.
we need to get at that. And that's what these sessions were all about. And clearly very, very productive. Before I'm off modding, though, I just want to mention a few of the people he worked with. Um, he produced artists such as the Rascals, Carly Simon, Petunia Clark, Bette Midler, Barbra Streisand, Cher, Diana Ross, Queen, Patti LaBelle, Aretha Franklin, Lulu, Anita Baker, Judy Collins,
Yeah.
Phil Collins,
uh,
Culture Club, Roberta Flack, Average White Band, Hall & Oates, Howard Jones, Nora Jones, Chaka Khan, George Benson, Melissa Manchester, The Manhattan Transfer, Willie Nelson, John Prine, Leo Sayer, Dusty Springfield, David Bowie, Jewel, and Ringo Starr. In his career, he collected over 40 gold and platinum albums, over 15 Grammy nominations, of which he won 12. In
yeah.
1990, he was inducted into the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences Hall of Fame. So, this is the producer behind Jive Talk, and this is the producer behind Main Course. So you can see that
Well,
there was something to that.
and so to add to that just briefly, that because he had a real track record of excellence, and he had worked with such a variety of artists, I think the Bee Gees trusted him
Yes.
in a way that, I mean, in a way that they may not have, because he really is suggesting some pretty dramatic kinds of changes. And it's a risk. I mean, what they do on main course is vastly different than what you had heard from the Bee Gees previously. And
Well, it's the first we hear of the falsetto, right? It's
that's right. No, that is
the lead
precisely it.
vocals.
Yeah. And so the falsetto piece, just as a place to begin, this is um, this is something that is it's risky as hell. I mean, it just is because if it's not executed properly, this comes crashing down on all of them. but most notably Barry.
Well,
It could have been a disaster, but far from it.
Maurice, when Maurice talks about R.F. Martin, he is just full of praise. He is
Yeah.
obviously a great fan. He said, Arif brought it out of us. You know, we weren't
Yes.
the first to
Yes.
sing in falsetto. We loved the stylistics, the spinners, the delphonics. They were all falsetto lead singers.
That's right.
But he said, he said Martin wanted to hear that from us. He thought we could do it, and we did.
But
So
it gets, yeah. So, I mean, but again, it's very risky. It's very risky. But they put their trust in him, and it was rewarded. That trust was rewarded. I mean, this could have gone horribly wrong in the hands of another producer, horribly wrong.
well, for
But
one thing, they had a fan base that
yes,
had
they
certain
did.
expectations.
That is 100% the case. Oh, Dave, that's no doubt. I mean, again, a global fan base that had come accustomed to a kind of Bee Gees sound and candidly loved that Bee Gees sound. And this was very different.
But it was also Bee Gees,
It was
and
also Bee Gees.
I
Yeah,
think
yes,
that's the
that's
brilliance
right.
of this is that
Yes,
they take a different
no
tangent,
question.
but they remain themselves, and that is what makes this album so brilliant, I think.
Oh, I totally agree. It speaks to the incredible versatility and range of talent that these guys had. They were, I mean, again, I think that they've long been undervalued, but main course is the transition moment, and it opens up something really remarkable.
Barry Gibb said, "quote It was a discovery, and we discovered a new audience." End quote.
Yes.
That may be the understatement
Oh,
of
I
the
think
century.
discovered a new audience and kind of created a new audience as well, right? I mean, because I mean, while they are not, they're one of the founders of disco. I mean, they clearly didn't invent it, and all of that, right? But they brought, God dang, they brought a lot of people into it.
Man, yes. Nicky Siano, a former Studio 54 DJ, said, quote, disco started in the gay and the black community.
Sure,
And this billion-dollar industry was being built way before the Bee Gees. End
that's
quote.
right.
But who out in
Yeah,
backwoods
yeah.
Arkansas had ever heard of disco before the Bee Gees? You're talking
Well,
a
no,
swath of white America was had no clue. They weren't gay, they weren't black, they weren't buying disco music until the Bee Gees came along.
it,
So
it,
you're
it,
absolutely right. They didn't create disco, but they made it a mass
they did. I think that they did.
phenomenon.
They did, and they are, and the Bee Gees gave disco a kind of credibility. I mean, this is the thing of, if the Bee Gees, I mean, the Bee Gees were this known entity, and a solid and beloved group, and now they're doing something different. And let's take a listen. And oh my God, it just changed. It changed the Bee Gees' career, but it certainly changed popular music in this era.
Oh, absolutely. Um, let's talk about Jive Talking for a second,
Oh,
because that's also
Le-
an interesting little story.
God, this is yeah,
Um, it was originally titled Drive Talking.
yeah.
Do you know the story behind that?
No, go ahead. Yeah, I'll do a little bit, but yeah,
Well, they would drive from the Clapton place across Biscayne Bay,
yeah, so they're Biscayne Bay in their sports cars.
Julia Tuttle Causeway
Yep,
every day, and uh, apparently there was just kind of this
yep.
uh,
The road, kind of rhythmic road noise.
jive talk. So
This is the, yeah,
that's what
yeah.
inspired that. So it was Drive Talking to begin with. Um, and then they went to Jive Talking because obviously Jive was a dance. And it was modding that said, "You guys, do you know what
Yeah.
Jive Talking is?" I said, "Well, it's kind of
Uh,
you're expressing yourself in your dance." They said,
mm,
"Yeah, well, it has another
yeah,
meaning
it's this, yeah,
in
that,
the black community,
yeah,
and it basically means just bullshitting."
yeah.
Um, oh, okay. So Jive Talking, you're telling me lies, uh, and so that
It's
took
right. It's writing itself at this point.
yes,
Yeah,
it took the lyrics in a slightly different direction, and
yeah.
the rest is history, as they say. Jive Talking was the first release from Main Course. It hit number one, where we're at this week on the Billboard Hot 100, top five on the UK singles chart, and as I said, uh, if you're going to come back, it's good to come back with the number one. How can you mend a broken heart? Um,
That's yeah.
what was the name of this the album? Uh,
Trafalgar.
Trafalgar. Trafalgar was the only hit off of that album, but um, it broke the top 10 in 1971.
Right.
So this was big for them. It was important for them, and
And I think it's fair, Dave, that so this opens up this whole new avenue for the Bee Gees. And for the rest of the 70s, they become almost well, it's one of the faces of popular music globally, right? The Bee Gees become an enormous phenomenon. I mean, it just
there was
what
a time when you could not go anywhere without seeing their faces uh, plastered on something, on posters, on
oh,
magazines.
this is
They were everywhere.
yeah. I mean, to the point where I mean, they were really oversaturated, and there was, and we'll talk about this in upcoming episodes. But there clearly was a backlash against the Bee Gees and disco in general, and it's in part because they were omnipresent, certainly in the United States, but really I think in many parts of the world. I mean, they're just everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and the funny part about that is really the first Gibb brother to capitalize on the popularity of club music, of dance music, disco, wasn't one of the Bee Gees. It was their younger brother, Andy Gibb.
This comes a little later, but yeah. But
Yeah,
as a
but but
but
it's
but
it's
but
it's, it's but it's pre Saturday Night Fever, and
yep.
uh, I remember just being livid because Andy Gibb was getting so much attention, and the kids around me were talking about Andy Gibb, and I thought, he's a he's a no talent compared to his brothers, and nobody talks about them. Well,
Oh, well, I mean, you fought that lonely battle. God bless you. Yeah, but Andy Gibb was, yeah. I mean, yeah, he came on like a rocket. We'll talk about him. Um,
also went to
uh,
Criteria Studios, by the
oh
way.
well, of course he did.
What a wonderful.
Yeah. And uh and for Andy Gibb, the time in Miami was probably that was problematic. Um, given, what was happening outside the studio. But yeah, Jive Talking
Vice
is
type of stuff, yeah.
oh yeah, no, yeah, he got completely consumed by his addictions. Yeah, but Jive Talking, um, yeah, this is it.
Just a little bit about the music, the song itself. Um, that scratchy guitar
Yep,
intro,
which we'll hear in a second. Yeah.
that was the Barry Gibb himself. The Morris, who was the multi-instrumentalist
Mhm.
group and had played whatever they needed to have played
Oh yeah.
throughout their entire career, that was starting to have some serious alcohol problems. And wasn't there for every session and things like that. Everybody, according to everybody, and especially according to Morris, he was always there when he was supposed to be and when he needed to be. But when they were first laying down the bass line, um, he wasn't there, and so what they did was they had Blue Weaver, who was a keyboardist that they had brought in starting on these sessions. He
Yeah.
would continue to play for them, and he played um, the bass line on a synthesizer,
Mhm.
state of the
Yeah.
art ARP 2600.
Yeah, which was very unusual in this. I mean, almost unheard of at this point. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, and so when Morris came back, they played it for him, and he said, "I really like the synth bass, and I just overdubbed certain sections for extra emphasis." But so you had this double bass thing going on,
Oh,
which was
it's
very unusual.
yeah, yeah. It's funky as hell. I mean, right, very unusual.
Uh, so you had some talented people on this. Just real quickly, apart from the Bee Gees themselves, you had Alan Kendall on the electric guitars and steel guitar. He had joined the Bee Gees in 1971 when they were looking for a guitarist to replace Vince Melouney.
Hmm.
And he basically was their lead guitarist through
Oh,
Spirits Haven't Flown.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, they were very yeah. That whole era.
Came back and worked with them in the later career too. Um,
People were very loyal to the Bee Gees.
do you remember us ever talking about toe fat?
I do remember.
Kendall was a member of toe fat.
Oh God. Well,
And
this for a long time, viewers, that this will take us back to one of the art rock episodes with the hypnosis, and I don't remember which one. Oh God, yeah.
yeah, Hypnosis did their cover and they had to
Oh,
redo it for
it,
the US market because there were nudity on it, stuff like that. The point
yeah.
is, um, Tofat had been an RKO band and were essentially fired at the end of 1970. So Kendall was out of work, and since the Bee Gees needed a new guitarist, he just slipped right in there, and that seemed to be a good fit. Um, Blue Weaver, we mentioned him on keyboards and synthesizer. He was a co-founding member of Amen Corner,
Oh yeah.
and you'll remember they did stuff like "Bend Me, Shake Me"
That's it.
and "If Paradise Is Half as Nice." So
Oh well, there we go.
yeah,
Yeah, they had a couple of hits,
they had
but
a couple of hits, and then in 1971 he joined Straubs at the same time that Kendall was joining the Bee Gees.
that's a very interesting band.
After Rick Wakeman left
Yeah,
that band
that's
to join Yes,
yeah. This super Straubs are super interesting.
he left
Very.
Straubs in '73 to tour with Mott the Hopple.
Oh, Mott. Little
Does
Ian Hunter time. Yeah, yeah.
and sorry, Mott the Hoople, and their supporting band Queen. So he was on tour with
Oh,
them in 1973.
those upstarts.
And in 1975, his former Amen Corner bandmate Dennis Bryan, who had been working with the Bee Gees, suggested Weaver become a replacement keyboardist. At that point, I guess Jeff Wesley was on keyboards for the Bee Gees. Sorry.
But it's yeah, but the Bee Gees, people work with the Bee Gees for a long time. You know, it's interesting. You know, obviously they were successful and there was money to be made and all of that. But I do think that people who worked with the Bee Gees enjoyed their time. The Bee Gees, and maybe in part because they were a family act, tried to keep the band contiguous through albums and projects and whatnot. So it's very interesting if you look at the credits on Bee Gees albums. It's the same guys, Lamar primarily men, but it's for years upon years.
For years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, Weaver was credited as co-composer on Andy Gibbs' "Don't Throw It All Away."
Oh yeah.
Our Love, Don't Throw It All Away. I think that was his biggest hit, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it may be. It's certainly my favorite of the Andy Gibbs. Yeah, yeah.
I don't hate it. That's
Uh,
saying
you,
something.
you can't be. You still got. He just still rubs you the wrong way.
Yeah, yeah,
You're never gonna let go of that. But
no.
okay, yeah.
But anyway, the aforementioned Dennis Bryan was on drums, percussion,
Mhm.
and also through Spirits having flown. Interesting factoid: Brian and Ringo Starr are the only drummers to have 5 songs in the top 10 Billboard chart simultaneously.
Oh, jeez.
Isn't that
Well, the
wild?
ring that is wild. I guess Ringo would have had them though with one band.
Yes.
I
Well,
mean, that's not. I'm not trying to take. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe there's a.
Brian
I'm not trying to take anything away from Brian.
was, I think, did that all with the Bee Gees, but it wasn't all on the same album. I think 4 of those were from Saturday Night Fever, and one of them was from Grease.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Did you know that Barry Gibb wrote Grease? Wrote the song?
Yeah.
You knew that. I did not know that.
That's Frankie Valli's vocal,
Yeah, yes.
but well, we'll have to go. We'll put that in. We'll put a pin in that because that's interesting. That's in, that's really remarkable. It's a
So
lot of
anyway,
songs.
that was his fifth song. His fifth song was from Greece. All right. That pretty much wraps that
All
up.
right. Well,
Let's listen to this thing.
let's listen to a little, and we'll listen to the opening lick, which you mentioned, where it comes from, the origin of it. It's
Well, there wasn't a high school dance or junior high dance that did not play Jive Talkin'.
all right. So here we go, and we will do our best not to sway in rhythmic motion.
Speak for yourself, buddy.
It's magnificent, and you can definitely hear that synth line, which is yeah, it's really terrific. And so a big record. I mean, in lots of ways.
Just
Go
one
ahead.
just one quick thing because you showed the Saturday Night Fever
Saturday Night Fever. Yeah.
soundtrack cover. Jive Talking was part of that soundtrack,
Yes.
in addition to having been on main course, um, and was included because it had been part of a scene that got cut. Well, it's also included because they wanted to sell the soundtrack. But um, John Travolta said while we were doing the film, uh, there was nothing Bee Gees about our dancing. I was not dancing to the Bee Gees. I was dancing to Stevie Wonder and Boss Skaggs. The Bee Gees stuff was like superimposed then afterwards. So,
That's interesting. Yeah. Boss gags. Oh, oh, what an era. But yeah, so there we have the Bee Gees,
there we
and
have it.
we're
Number
going to
one.
talk more, and we'll certainly talk more about the Bee Gees, and we're moving into the Saturday Night Fever eras. But this main course album is It's really good. And
Oh
so
yeah,
if you're unfamiliar with it, you should check it out because
Definitely check it out. It's
the
very,
deep
very good.
cut the deep cuts are awesome as well. It gets us to number two.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
No, it
as long as we're
doesn't.
talking about it. We also have Nights on Broadway, the best stalker song ever written, and Fanny Be Tender with Your Love. Those were
Fanny.
the
Those are
three
the,
hits.
yeah.
But as you said, the deep cuts are also just fantastic.
Yeah, it's a terrific album. Mid-August 1975, it's the Eagles. And the Eagles are at number two with One of These Nights. One of These Nights is a song that was, well, really Glenn Fry's favorite. Fry was he'd grown up in Detroit, and famously, he'd been mentored by Bob Seger. If you listen to Rambling Gambling Man, you can hear a snippet of Fry in the background. But Detroit in the late 60s and very early 70s was an incredibly rich environment culturally. And in terms of music, obviously, it was one of the most important places in the world. And so Glenn Frey had been exposed to a lot of R&B, a lot of soul, in addition to rock and all that. And so one of the things that he long chafed against was that the Eagles were just a country rock band, or the Eagles were just a band that did ballads. That he thought that they were great players, and while other songs sold more and maybe are more better remembered. One of these nights for Fry was the song that really showed the world what the Eagles could do. And he was immensely proud of it, and he thought it was by far the best thing that they had ever accomplished. And I think that would surprise a lot of people. Now, one of these nights, um,
It is a great song. I mean,
yeah, I
no
mean
question. But
it's a great song, but what's interesting about it is that it's very kind of un-Eagles like, right? So there's what from even from the opening bass riff, which was put together by the new member of the group, Don Felder, but it was executed by Randy Meisner, um, to the high harmonies that were offered by Meisner. There's definitely a kind of R&B. There's a kind of R&B beat to it. This song really kind of bops along in a way that a lot of Eagles songs don't necessarily move. It's just you're looking here at the single sleeve from 75, and you can see that there are five members. This is for the short period of time again where the Eagles had um, Bernie Ledden on the left there as a part of the band when the guy on the right, Don Felder, was in the band. Don Felder had joined at the beginning of the year. Um, Felder's
gotta
did
love that men's perm thing that was going on in the mid '70s.
yeah. Well, this is the era of perms and attention to that kind of thing. The Felder again famously from Florida brought a lot of creativity and a certain kind of juice to the band. And his addition I think really sparked a kind of renaissance. Now, one of the things that's interesting about 75 for the Eagles is that this is, again, a transition era. So we've talked about the Eagles at some length over the past few years, right, in various kinds of episodes, starting off as Linda Ronstadt's band and all that kind of thing. Ledden on the left will leave the band after this year, famously having a kind of showdown with Glenn Fry after a concert at the Orange Bowl where he pours a beer over his head. And this is all famously recounted in the Eagles documentary from a from a few years ago. But and it's also the lore that surrounds Bernie Ledden is that this is a guy who had a folk and kind of country and bluegrass background and wasn't particularly interested in rock and roll, wasn't interested in playing rock and roll. Lenton has long pushed against that, but both Fry and namely Don Henley have talked about that at some length again. But one of the things that was happening in the band is that they are transitioning from a an opening act to a headlining act. In 1975 alone, the Eagles had 90 concerts. And these are not Wednesday night shows at the Troubadour. These are big productions,
Stadiums stuff.
stadiums across the world. And Ledden was just he was completely fried. And wasn't particularly interested in this kind of lifestyle. Now he would again leave, and what his departure, he would that void would be filled by one Joe Walsh, and we'll talk certainly more about Joe Walsh in upcoming episodes. But one of these nights is
So,
just one of
sorry. So Linton was fried, but Fry wasn't fried?
fried was not fried. It's Fried was not fried. There's no question, right, that the Eagles were really driven by Fry and Henley. It was always their band. And they were, I think, energized by this transition moment to becoming this one of the big bands of the world. I don't think that either Meisner or Ledden were particularly interested in all of this. And Meisner would eventually drop out of the band, be replaced by Timothy B. Schmidt. But it's a transition time. But the '90s shows, okay, I looked at the touring schedule. I mean, they shared the bill, for example, in Kansas City on July 18th with one Rolling Stones. So, they were at this point, they had gone from a nice little band to one of the biggest bands in the world. And that was a massive jump. And again, this next album that they're starting to plan is an album called Hotel California, and of course, Hotel California is replete with imagery of debauchery and of the price of fame, and all of that. And so they're really moving in. They really are moving into the fast lane at this point, and it really wasn't something that all of the members of the band really were comfortable with. Um, I don't have much more to say about this. We should listen to it. This is a very kind of un-Eagles hit, but it's a big hit. And again, this is Glenn Frey's by far his favorite song that the group ever cut. So this is One of These Nights. Meisner. That's just fantastic. One of these nights from the Eagles. Country rock. It's a long way from country rock. So there we go at number two. One of these nights. At number three, then, oh, it's hard. We want to spend time, but we've talked about her already. This is Olivia Newton-John with Please, Mr. Please. We talked about that last month, but she's at number three. Okay, at number four, a song that we have also talked about, but on a different show, on a Song Story show from a couple of years ago. At number four, it is "Someone Saved My Life Tonight" by one Elton John. Um, okay, a song penned like always by John and Bernie Taupin. It is um, it is inspired by a relationship that Elton John had with Linda Woodrow, who may have been controlling. I think this is certainly the lore that surrounds her, and they were headed
Bit
toward
domineering. Yeah. Mhm.
domineering, perhaps. I think that's a little unfair, but if you want to hear more me wax in support of her, you can listen to
Well,
that
we would have
episode.
to listen to her circle of friends to get that perspective, but his circle of friends was unanimous about that.
They were very troubled. They were very troubled by her. They were very troubled by the relationship and the direction it was going. And again, wedding bells were apparently in the air. This Elton John was despondent, and it was complicated, and I don't know that he was completely even honest with himself at this point in terms of what was causing his despondency, but he wanted out. And he didn't just want out of the relationship. He even was thinking about ending his life. And so there's a lot of heaviness that surrounds this. As the story goes, he's talked out of several things by one Long John Baldry, right? Who comes swooping in to the rescue and gets Elton John and back on the straight and narrow and out of that relationship. And
You cannot marry that woman.
you cannot marry that woman. Yes, someone saved my life tonight. And so this is the story that part of the story that surrounds this song. It's a song that peaked at number 4 on the pop charts. It is at 6 minutes and 45 seconds. Uh, One of the longest singles, maybe in fact the longest single that Elton John ever released. It's certainly the most longest popular single that Elton John, and it was a very long single in its own way, kind of plotting for this era, but again, kind of remarkably popular. It's again, we talked about this at some length in the Song Stories episode, and if you'd like to take a deep dive into that, we'd encourage you because we do explore a lot of the aspects of the relationship of how Long John Baldry sort of entered the picture. There's a lot there, and it's actually quite compelling. You learn a lot about John, you learn a lot about Toppin, you learn a lot about Long John
Right.
Baldry,
A
and
lot
that
about Talkin as well, because he was living with them.
yeah, this
Uh,
is where it gets it just it's
so that also it didn't make things easier, I think.
oh, no, it didn't. No, it certainly didn't. And it's and again, I think it's fair to say that I think all right. I have long thought that this song is a little unfair to her. And they're punching down a bit. Again, we don't have to go down that rabbit hole right now, but it's fair to say that it's one of the certainly one of the most popular, most memorable songs that those two ever wrote.
Well,
There's
and
something about
the,
this song
the
that really speaks to people.
the entire album was more or less autobiographical
That's
about
right.
their career as songmakers, what they went through, and who they were at that time. And certainly, this is one example of that.
Yeah, so it's the Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy album is I think it's one of the most compelling albums that he ever put together. It's certainly part of this kind of magical run of the 1970s. And um, like you say, yeah, lots of autobiographical things happening in Elton John's work in this period. I think let's just listen to a brief cut of it. And again, we encourage you if you want to take a deeper dive into this to listen to that song story where we go. We spare no detail. We explore it. We frankly explore it all. But here we go. Someone saved our night, my life tonight. 1975, Elton John. Just incredible vocal work. Of course, the handiwork of one Gus Dunnigan produced all of Elton John's stuff in this era. I mean, Elton John's albums, his songs, they just sound great. They're just so well produced, just so well mixed. It's just, yeah. I mean, all right. So there we go. At number 5, well, where's Joe Frank? I don't know. So okay, so there's an odd sort of story that surrounds the name of this group, but it's Hamilton, Joe Frank, and Reynolds fallen in love.
Yeah, this was from their third studio album, "Fallen in Love." Their first for Playboy Records.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
they had signed with Playboy in 1974 after parting ways with Dunhill Records. Um,
Do you know much about Playboy Records? I know that I don't know hardly anything about it. I would imagine it would have been a very kind of curious label to be a part of.
well, um, my my
I mean,
impression
I don't.
my impression is that Hugh Hefner created Playboy Records to provide a home for the vocal ambitions of Barbie Benton,
That is my recollection as well.
his
Um,
longtime companion.
and remarkably, she did a little bit of chart success. Not
What?
a lot, but a little bit.
She broke into the top Hot 100
Well,
or
that's what we're getting at. Yeah, but right, but yeah. So I mean, he did it for Barbie, but Barbie Benton. But there were a handful of artists. So again, these guys are part of it. I can't imagine. I don't know. It just seems like maybe not the best choice. I mean, I don't want to sound like a prude, but I just think it's that you talk about a label that has there are a lot of distractions.
it,
I mean, I just don't think that music was at the top of the list when it came to the Playboy executives. But okay, maybe I'm wrong.
well, you need a record company, right? If you're a band, you need a record company.
Well,
So
you do, and they had right, and so and they'd had, I mean, they'd had their taste of success earlier, but like with all bands, you're only as strong as your last record, and so yeah,
well,
they fell on some hard times, and so here they go, right? They're back on.
do you know what their earliest success was?
Well, I used to know, but I think I have forgotten. No, I
Well,
don't know. At the top of my head.
it's very strange. Their first success was as members of the T-Bones. Do you remember the T-Bones?
Oh God, is this? Well, you're going to have to help me out.
Yeah, the T-Bones were essentially um, an artificial band.
Okay.
Um, it was made up of, well, they had an instrumental hit, No Matter What Shape Your Stomach's In, which was,
Oh,
which took,
come on.
I kid you not, it took an
Oh,
Alka-Seltzer commercial, took the music from that and
oh,
turned it into a full-blown instrumental hit with members of who else? The Wrecking Crew. Tommy Tedesco, Hal
oh my
David, Carol Kay, and
God, those guys. Well, and it probably sounded great if
probably
they're on
sounded
it.
great. Um, but they had no one to take it on tour
This is over and over again,
because
right?
those guys
Okay,
weren't going to do it.
they weren't going to do it.
Had no desire
There
to
are
go on that track.
dozens of stories like this
Yes.
with Wrecking Crew session work, and then they have to take it on the road, and like, oh, we got to make a band, we got to create a band. Oh
So
God,
the
T-Bones. Okay.
T-Bones um, became were composed on the spur of the moment um, from the members uh, uh, Joe Frank Carollo,
Hmm.
Alan Dennison, uh, Tommy Reynolds,
Yep.
Dan and Judd Hamilton.
Dan,
So
Dan Hamilton's a familiar name. Okay. Well, yeah.
they were in the T-Bones then and went on tour with No Matter What Shape Your Stomach's In. And
Oh,
that was their first success, embodying this
good
fictional band.
grief.
So their first, I think, real success came with "Don't Don't Pull Your Love,"
Don't pull your love.
1971, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And
I,
a fine song, fine. Yeah. Right. Right.
love that song. Yeah, that peaked at number
Yeah.
4,
Mhm.
and this was their only song to reach number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. And it was also the only. What a surprise! It was also the only pop number 1 hit for the Playboy Records label.
Well, big surprise there. But I mean,
Wow,
but they got
who would
one.
have thought? Um,
Again, it's just it's a van. It has all the earmarks of a vanity label, but whatever. I mean, okay.
but they got a number one hit out of it, you know.
Well, they did. Well, they did.
And they would go on to have a couple more
They
Hot 100 hits.
they would. Yeah, that's right.
So they weren't just a one hit wonder, but this was clearly their most popular song. It was written by Dan Hamilton and his wife Ann,
Mhm.
produced by Jim Price.
Yeah.
Um,
Price, was a big producer. Yeah.
this song also went to number 24 on the Billboard's Hot Soul Singles chart.
Hmm.
Maybe one of the
Interesting.
most interesting aspects of this song, apart from the musical aspect, is that Playboy Enterprises litigated uh, over this song. They,
What?
yeah, they went after Drake um, with the allegations that his hit song, "Best I Ever Had," sampled "Falling in Love" without attribution or permission. What's clear? That song definitely sampled "Falling in Love," and apparently there was no attribution or permission.
So
Um,
40 years later or whatever.
this
More
yeah,
than that, probably. Yeah.
this was filed June 24th, 2010.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, 35 years later. Yeah.
Um, anyway, the suit named Drake, Cash Money Records, and Universal Music Group as respondents, and it asserted that Playboy, quote, has suffered and will continue to
Oh,
suffer
this is so interesting.
irreparable
Yeah.
injury,
Uh,
end quote.
Playboy Records, which had been defunct for decades, probably by this point, right? Yeah. Irreparable. Yeah.
Well,
Suffering.
you know, but
Ah,
this is what
this is how
this was their one
this is
trick pony. So what, you know, you can't just have.
this is how this goes. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is interesting.
Well, Drake earned a lot of money with his hit, and
Well,
they want a piece of it.
no one's defending Drake here. But I mean, it's right. Okay. That's so. Well, all right.
As part of its claim, Playboy also alleged that, quote, each defendant either knew or should have reasonably known
Should have known.
that the sound recording was protected by copyright, end quote.
Well, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, interesting. Well, the other interesting thing is um, Playboy wanted the group um, with the original name, although Tommy Reynolds had left the group in 1972
This
and was replaced by Alan Dennison on keyboard.
I
So
know. I know. This
Joe,
is so
Frank,
weird.
Hamilton, and Reynolds, there was no Reynolds, but
Ah,
they kept the name because that was the name that was associated with their first hit. I assume that that was the reason they wanted them,
oh, that has to be the reason, right?
right?
I mean, right? Because I mean, it just raises too many. It
So
raises too many questions otherwise. Okay.
this song is interesting almost for as much for what's going on all around it as it is for the actual
I have
music.
to say, but there is it is as a number. There's a kind of swirling. I mean, it's a well produced number, and it's harmless, but a hit, big hit,
It's a
one of the
good
biggest.
song. It's a good song. I like "Don't Pull Your Love" better personally,
I I do too, but it's hard to argue with the success that this had. So yeah.
shall we
So
listen in?
oh, let's do.
Baby, baby, falling in love. I'm falling in love again. Baby, baby, falling in love. I'm falling in love again.
Uh,
Baby, baby, falling in love. I'm falling in love.
there we go. Hamilton, Joe Frank, and Reynolds. Oh God. At five, Fallen in Love, Hamilton, Joe Frank, and Reynolds. At number six, then a personal favorite of mine, and I just love this artist, but it's Glen Campbell's Rhinestone Cowboy.
Yeah. Yeah, this is so good. Um, Interesting story here too. Rhinestone Cowboy was from the album Rhinestone Cowboy. It was his 28th studio album, released July 1979. 28th.
Yeah, no, 28. I know yeah.
And he wasn't done, you know.
No, I wasn't done. No, it's to be a completist with the Glen Campbell's catalog it involves, yeah, real commitment.
um, was released July 1975 by Capitol Records. This was something of a concept album, just based on this idea of an over-the-hill country guy, a country musician, a little bit ill at ease with the fame that he
Well, this is yeah,
has enjoyed, residual fame that he continues to have to deal with.
it's an
Um,
interesting idea, and it explored in, this is Electric Horseman or something like that from a few years down the road. But yeah, it is, yeah. I actually think it's relatively well executed here as well.
oh well, and it features, of course, Rhinestone Cowboy, the single, and Country Boy. You got your feet in L.A.
Oh yeah,
I just I think is also a fantastic song.
totally agree. Yeah.
The album peaked at number 17 on the Billboard 200. Um, the writer was Larry Weiss.
I
Now, Weiss
hmm.
was a moderately successful singer-songwriter. For one thing, he co-wrote "Bend Me, Shape Me."
Wait a minute.
Yeah, we've heard that before today. Um, and he also sang the theme song for "Who's the Boss" in the first two seasons. But
Hey, there we go.
he,
That's Tony Danza, I think,
Tony Danza, indeed.
and Judith White, and Alyssa Milano. Melissa Alano. Yes.
I never
Sorry.
watched that. I never saw an episode.
Oh well. I mean, the things. I mean, what a loss. Okay, yeah. Who's the boss? Everybody
Anyway,
drink. Tony
um,
Danza.
he also wrote and then sang this on, I think, his only album, the only album that he actually put out himself. Um,
Hmm.
but it was called Black and Blue Suite, 19, 1974 on the 20th Century Records. Um, anyway, Campbell heard it while listening to radio station KNX FM in Los Angeles, bought a cassette tape of the album and listened to it on his 3-week tour of Australia. And he liked it. He's thinking he was learning, the
Oh,
guitar
it's a
part and things like
yeah.
that. And returned to the U.S. and the Capitol Records A&R Vice President Al Curry said, "Glen, listen, I have a song that I think would be perfect for you." And he gave him a copy of this song. It was Rhinestone Cowboy. So they were on the same wavelength as far as that's concerned. He performed the song on a telethon. KHJ radio programmer Paul Drew saw that broadcast and contacted Capitol about getting a copy. They sent him an acetate, and the song began getting national airplay on RKO's chain of radio stations,
Mhm. Okay.
which forced Capitol to rush the release of the single. And that just like overnight became number one on the pop chart for 2 weeks, number one country, number one adult contemporary.
This
So,
is yeah. This is a tidal wave, and this is a kind of renaissance moment for Campbell, right? In
yes,
terms of popularity. Um, it it's also, I think, a time when his personal life which was always kind of complicated. It was becoming even more complicated. Um, he's really struggling with alcohol in this era. But man, I mean, it's a great song. It's a great song, and
Well,
Campbell really
and
sells it. Really sells it.
well, one could imagine that this is something that he really relates to.
I mean, I think that's right. I mean, an odd way, it's become very much attached to him. He had that. I mean, he sort of leaned into this, but he had that. Had the acting, some acting chops, using True Grit and things like that. He, from Arkansas, he was a country boy. He was a cowboy of sorts.
Telegenic guy who was on
Oh
television
yeah,
all the time. So yeah, Rhinestone Cowboy, sure.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
This was, by the way, this was nominated for the Grammy Award for the Record of the Year in 1975. Let's talk a little bit about the producer or the producers, Dennis Lambert and Brian Potter. They also received nominations for Producer of the Year.
Hmm.
These guys were songwriters, producers, and they had their thumbs in just a whole lot of pies. As songwriters, they wrote "One Tin Soldier,"
Ah,
"Don't Pull Your Love,"
wait a minute.
yeah, uh, "Ain't No Woman Like the One I Got" by the Four Tops,
Hmm.
and your favorite Righteous Brothers song,
Oh,
"Rock and Roll
the
Heaven."
Rock or Heaven. I think it is my favorite Righteous Brothers song. No irony there. Yeah. Do you believe it? Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm
So
all tingly. Yeah.
yeah, and so there's that. Those guys were also, a known
Oh,
quantity.
totally the real deal. Yeah, for sure.
Let's listen into this. This is just so
Let's
much fun to listen
do.
to.
Let's do. Here we go.
Yeah.
Rhinestone Cowboy, Glen Campbell.
Like a rhinestone cowboy, riding out on a horse in a star-spangled rodeo. Rhinestone cowboy, getting cards and letters from people I don't even know, and offers coming over the phone. Like a rhinestone cowboy.
Oh my goodness. Glen Campbell. One of the greats. One of the
I've
greats.
made no attempt to collect all of his albums, but his greatest hits is a delight.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, it's just magnificent. And this is one of the highlights, Rhinestone Cowboy for sure. I'm gonna get to the chart in a second, but I want to just bounce some questions off you for a second, Dave. And so, if it's August 1975, there's an artist from New Jersey named Bruce
Bruce
Springsteen.
Springsteen. Huh?
And he is going to release then an album entitled Born to Run. I mean, you're somewhat of a Springsteen aficionado. What is it about Born to Run, do you think, that is was significant? Because I think many people would contend that this is the album that really made Bruce Springsteen
Yeah.
Bruce Springsteen. And so, what's going on with Born to Run, do you think, that makes it important?
Well, I think he was still trying to find his way as a rock poet, which I think most people would agree he is. He has
Yeah,
certainly
I think that's
become
fair.
a rock
Yeah.
poet, and his early attempts weren't always successful from my perspective. A little bit pretentious, a little bit too Dylan-esque, but
Yeah, very on the nose, right? In that
yeah,
regard, on Columbia Records and also, yeah.
but among other things, the guy could rock, and that's the
Yes.
thing that really made me notice him for the first time. I still love Born to Run. I think the single Born to Run is still one of the best songs he's ever written. Um,
Oh, I
it's
think this.
just so
I
good.
mean, this is. I mean, right. I mean, it may be the song, right? When all is said and done, that the title track from this LP will be the song that will be most attached to him,
Yeah.
through the ages. It. Um. Yeah. This album. I mean, this is on the heels of him being on the covers of Newsweek and Time magazine roughly simultaneously. But there was something about this album that just caught people. I guess it was just the right moment, and there was no looking back. I mean, this. I mean, Bruce Springsteen has, he has a place in the larger culture that's, I think, significant, and it starts here in August of '75 with Born to Run. I mean, it's
Well,
just
the guy's got legs too. I mean, there's no question
100%.
about that.
Yeah.
He's right up there with people like Elton John, who decade for decade for decade, there aren't a lot of artists out there that can just keep doing that over the years, and he can, and it's just pretty amazing. But
I,
we saw the first glimpses of greatness with Born to Run.
All right, so totally agree. So with that, then you're a man of many interests, and one of the things that you have long been interested in is coin collecting. Um, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I mean, what is it about? I mean, you've done this for, I mean, for a long time, well, basically almost as long as I've known you. What is it about coin collecting that you find kind of compelling?
I There's something about practical art, just the
Yeah,
idea.
that's
This is
really good. Yeah.
this is something that is just out there for to make trade easier. It's money, but it's also something that you can make very attractive, very pretty, and the fact that they try to do that and that they succeed in doing that just fascinates me.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And so if it's August of '75, then the U.S. Mint introduces one of the first changes to an American coin in generations, and that is it's the bicentennial quarter. On the backside of the quarter now will be well, we can see it here with the colonial drummer. The bicentennial is still officially, like, I guess, 11 months away, but I mean, bicentennial fever is rampant in the United States in 1975. And this quarter I remember this as a kid being a big deal. I remember when you talk about this sort of utilitarian people, when I got change, I looked at my hand and there was a quarter, bicentennial quarter. I just was like flabbergasted. And of course I saved it, and, like everybody else did. Minted for but a year. The bicentennial quarter was a roaring success. And the mint then became a little bit more, I don't know, forward thinking in terms of changing designs and whatnot. And eventually you would see like the introduction of the state quarters and that kind of
Oh
thing. But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
but bicentennial fever is really happening. And speaking of bicentennial fever, then Ebony Magazine, Dave, Ebony Magazine is if it's the '70s, Ebony Magazine is an enormously influential magazine in the Black community. It is a kind of monthly glance, right, at African American culture, and is read in homes across the country. And I remember, I mean, reading Ebony in the school libraries when I was a kid. This is the cover then of Ebony magazine in of August of '75. And speaking of bicentennial fever, it's a very interesting look at historical figures from the African American experience in the United States. And I think it's fascinating. So again, the bicentennial formally is again 11 months off, but here's Ebony Magazine celebrating the grand pageantry of Black culture and history in the United States with a number of of key figures here. And the bicentennial, Dave, I think is it. if it's 75, it's really getting momentum in the larger culture. I mean, I'm not suggesting that every American became passionate about American history, although both of us wish that was the case. But people became really kind of into this, right? That there was this sense that this was a big event
It was a big deal.
and it
Yeah,
was a
it really
big deal,
was.
and the communities large and small were going to, participate in it, and yeah, and so nobody was going to be left behind. And I do think this is a fascinating take by Ebony to embrace to embrace Black culture in this way. We'll certainly talk more about the bicentennial in upcoming episodes. So back to the charts. I suppose this band is I suppose it's best known for a brief association with an English blues singer, one Eric Burdon. Eric Burdon linked forces with War, a group out of California, in the very late 60s. And Eric Burdon and War recorded a couple of albums, and they had a fair amount of chart success. But War then enjoyed a kind of renaissance in the 70s. Eric Burdon only stayed with the band for a year or so, but it really enjoyed a renaissance in the 70s. And at number 7, it's Why Can't We Be Friends? And War is, and we've talked about War at various points along the way. The World is a Ghetto album is a classic from a couple of years earlier. But Why Can't We Be Friends is a kind of goofy, dopey song about the universality of the human experience, and asks a very kind of straightforward question. Well, why can't we just get along? Why can't we be friends? The song is penned by the entire band, and so there are plenty of names associated with the authorship here. And every member of the band grabs a lyric. And we'll listen to this in a moment. And then some of the lyrics are again kind of goofy, and we'll listen to one of the most goofy lyrics. But there is this sense that there is that maybe a part of what really has to happen in terms of sort of people make you just got to take that first step. You got to recognize that people are, there's a sort of universality here. Lonnie Johnson has been the longtime leader of the band, although he kind of shared that. The Burton experience is an interesting one. It really, I wouldn't suggest that it derailed the band, but the band was much, much more than Eric Burton. And I think it's a legacy that's a little problematic, but 75 and 76 are huge years for War. We'll talk more about them, but yeah, so fascinating group and remarkably popular coming out of the LA area, and then they relocated to the Bay Area. But here we go. Why can't we be friends from 1975?
Sometimes I don't speak right. All right. But yet I know what I'm talking about. Why can't we be friends? 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 I know you're waiting for the CIA. They wouldn't have you in the mafia.
All right. Well, they're having a good time. And so did people around the world listening to this song in 75. Why can't we be friends from War? Okay. James Taylor rarely made a misstep, but perhaps he did at number 8 with, well, this is a little harsh. I'm interested in your take on this, Dave. So it's at number 8. It's How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You by James Taylor. What say you?
Well, I tend to be a little bit more tolerant of this. Um, but the first time I ever heard How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You was from James Taylor. It was not the Marvin Gaye version. Um, and
Right.
clearly, the people that knew the Marvin Gaye version were not happy about.
Oh, this is you. Oh my God, yes. I mean, I think that's the point. I mean, it's just you can. I don't know. Some things just are better left alone, I
They
guess.
were
I mean,
they were
that would
not
be my take.
yeah, they
They were
were
not
not
happy.
happy. To that point, um, Robert Christgau regarded this version as, quote, desecration of
I
Marvin
think
Gaye,
that's,
end
I
quote.
think, I mean, Chris Gal rarely, he never doesn't keep his powder dry. But I mean, he's right on with this. It's horrendous version.
But, James Taylor was in love. He was
Oh
more or
God,
less
come on, that's no excuse.
a newlywed.
That
And
is no excuse.
James Taylor cannot sing "How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You" like Marvin Gaye can. He sings.
No, he can't.
It would be a mistake for him to try to sing it that way.
Yeah, truer words never spoken. Yes, desecration.
This this is from his sixth studio album, Gorilla.
Gorilla. Yeah.
And the writers, of course, were none other than Lamont Dozier and
Yep.
brothers Brian and Eddie Holland,
Yeah, this is, I mean, right. Oh,
the great Motown writers. God, those guys just. We just talked last month about another
Holland,
white group
yes.
covering
Yeah.
one of their songs.
Holland, Doge, and Holler they were largely in the Motown stable, but they were covered by everyone. But this is just one of those things that you just better left alone. I mean, Taylor, he had a lot of covers as hits in this era, but man alive, this is
He did better when covering mellow California soft rock.
yeah.
He just
Oh,
did. Carole King was more his speed. Um,
yes. Just stay away from this R&B stuff. It's yeah, desecration. I think that's hilarious, but it's
this
so
was produced by Russ Titelman and
yeah. The
Lee
record.
Oringer.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, right. Warner Brothers. Yeah, the record man. Right. They almost everything they touched turned to gold.
Was released June 75 of Warner Brothers.
Is this Dave? Does this have all? So in terms of playing on this, does this have all the usual cast of characters then for Taylor? Kochmar and
Yes.
Leland Sklar and people like
On
that.
bass, Jim Keltner on drums,
Yeah.
Clarence McDonald on piano, and Carly Simon on backing vocals.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean,
yes,
it's love. She loves him. She still loves him.
and
Man, stay the heck away. Oh, this is some okay. Yeah.
well, it's hard not to love him. Um,
Oh, sure. He's fine.
his reception, the reception of this was that it actually made it to number one on the easy listening chart,
Hmm.
and it's topped, peaked at number five on the Billboard Hot 100.
Oh,
Uh, the Rolling Stone critic Bud Scopa described this as a quote, relaxed rendition, uh, end quote, and he considered it to be Taylor's way of acknowledging Gaye as a source of inspiration for the romantic point of view that he was feeling at the time.
oh, I think that is come on. Like this is some sort of loving homage to Marvin Gaye.
Yes, that's how he read it.
That's absurd.
The Taylor
Sorry.
biographer, Timothy White, described it as, quote, music for the park on Sunday, end quote.
Oh, okay. All right.
Cashbox said, quote, the orchestration is tastefully executed and vocally, Taylor puts an oh so mellow coating to this surefire winner. And
It's so bad that it makes you want to rethink Pat Boone's approach to Little Richard. I mean, this is okay. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. James Taylor, smart guy, bright guy, incredibly talented guy. Just
yeah.
stay the heck. I mean, are you that short of songs that you have to do this? I mean, I just don't believe that. I just don't understand how this anyway. It's so awful.
If I'm hearing you right, you're not completely on board with him having covered this.
Yeah, I'm a little on the fence apparently. It's just an enormous mistake.
I still
I
think we
mean,
should listen in.
God. All right, let's do. Uh,
I close my eyes at night, wondering where would I be without you in my life. Everything I did was just a bore. Everywhere I went, it seems I'd been there before. But you brighten up for me all of my days. The love so sweet in so many ways. I wanna stop. Thank you, baby. I just wanna stop. Thank you, baby. Oh, yes. How sweet it is to be loved by you. It's just like sugar sometimes.
oh, that's enough. That's enough. He starts to do that. He starts to do that kind of scattish business, and that's just. Oh my God. So how, okay, there we go. So how sweet it is from one James Taylor. I think it's fair to say we would recommend the Marvin Gaye version, but if you must, you can dip your toe into what James Taylor was offering in
It's
75.
it's
Oh,
it's different. It's not bad.
it's different, not bad. Okay, fair enough. All right. So okay. Um, one of the big shows in America in the 75 was a show set in Los Angeles. It was a medical drama with some action elements, and it was called Emergency. And Emergency was the story of firefighters and emergency medical technicians in LA who were typically to take their patients to the same hospital, Rampart. And you have then the characters here are celebrated on the cover of TV Guide in mid-August of 75. Um, it's one of the things that makes Emergency interesting is that it featured as a doctor and nurse Bobby Troop and Julie London. You can see Bobby Troop at the bottom in the white coat, and then Julie London there, who were a couple, and who were jazz greats from the 1950s. They had quite a distinguished music career. The guy at the top is the breakout star, the hunky Randolph Mantooth, who occasionally would find himself much to his chagrin, on the cover of Tiger Beat magazine. But one of the things about it that made Emergency interesting was that it introduced to the American public the notion of the emergency medical technician, the EMT, which up to this point was largely unknown in many stretches of the U.S. We're not saying that Emergency started the boom of EMTs across the U.S. But it did. This was the first real kind of public introduction of this. This had been a program that had been running in California for a long time, and today, right in the 21st century, then EMTs are a part of any community's first responder uh, squadron, and they were these guys were kind of famous. I had a couple of kids who lived behind me in the town that I grew up, who were Emergency fans, and occasionally I would be asked by their parents to I think this aired on either Friday or Saturday night. It was a weekend night, I believe, to watch them while they would go out to eat or whatever. And these young kids were so into Emergency that they would don their firefighters hats as they watched it. They were totally into it, and so some of my fondest
Wow.
memories
Okay.
that they were just emergency fans through and through. All right, so we're going to look at another cover here in just a second. This is again your time to extol the virtues of one Tiger Beat magazine, and so Tiger Beat in the 70s, Dave. Why was Tiger Beat? Why was it significant? What was important? And I think we would both submit it's important. But why was it important in the 70s?
Boy. Well, because prepubescent girls have to have something to read. This was my youth equivalent of Rolling Stone. I mean, obviously Rolling
Okay.
Stone was available at the time. I wasn't reading Rolling Stone at that point.
All right.
And
Well,
but a lot of the reason that I read Rolling Stone is to find out what some of my favorite artists are up to. And that's kind of what the idea behind Tiger Pete was. What
yeah,
these hunky, sexy, late teen, early 20 guys
yeah.
were doing, and how I might be able to meet them someday and fall in love and have their babies.
There's that piece of it as well, right? And so, but it
That was
was
not part of it for me. I just to make
well,
that
fair
clear.
enough.
I want to
We
make that
again,
perfectly
again,
clear.
we always celebrate your courage as you talk about your relationship with Tiger Beat magazine from this era.
Uh,
But here's Tiger Beat from August of '75. I just wanted to point out the young lad at the bottom, one Robbie Benson, who I believe I believe this is his first appearance on a Tiger Beat cover. I won't swear to that. But Robbie Benson will become an actor of some renown in this era. Robbie Benson, not really a television star, but will become a kind of film star. Robbie Benson, who will eventually go into film production and directing, and has had quite an accomplished career. But Tiger Beat was, there was a certain kind of numbing similarity each month because it was basically kind of the same faces over and over again. Yet there would be new faces, and in an odd sort of way. We do think it's significant, and it is sometimes a harbinger of things to come. And I think clearly with Robbie Benson's case, it was good things were on the way for him.
well, what it's certainly a thermometer for is
Thermometer, I think is yeah. There we go.
who is no longer in. We did not see any Bobby Shermans or David Cassidys on
Well,
this. Um,
no, no, we didn't. Yeah, it's who's in, who's out. And, who's up and who's down. And again, if you're not on the cover, then right, because there was seemingly room for everybody. They would make these incredibly small little images and whatnot, or allusions to people on this in this magazine. But if you weren't here, then clearly, well, you needed to contact your publicist because they're not doing their job. Let's move back to the charts for a second. It's number 9. It's Melissa Manchester's Midnight Blue. Melissa Manchester is a figure who is starting to become more well known in this era. She's a native New Yorker, spent time acting, spent time in the cabaret scene. She was an acquaintance with Paul Simon. Actually knew Paul Simon when he was in school. Worked alongside Barry Manilow. Really was was really kind of mentored by Bette Midler, I think. So she has a kind of cabaret chops, and I think but she probably had actually as much success as a songwriter as she did a singer. Midnight Blue is one of her big hits. It would peak at number 6 on the pop charts, and it would, of course, be a number 1 song on the adult contemporary charts. Kind of a conversation between lovers. Think of, wouldn't you wouldn't you give your heart to a friend? Think of me as a friend. I think we can make it. Midnight Blue. But she also then, as a songwriter, big success with songs like "Come In From the Rain." She also penned a song that will, I think, immediately prick your ears, "Whenever I Call You Friend," which she co-wrote with Kenny Loggins, which became a big hit for Loggins and Stevie Nicks. Manchester will have some hits along the way. Hit number 10 in 1978 with "Don't Cry Out Loud," another hit again in the early '80s. She also will appear on The Muppet Show, which I'm looking forward to talking about here in a future episode, because The Muppet Show becomes, talk about your thermometers or your barometers for popularity. You're on The Muppet Show, you're on the way up. And she was on The Muppet Show, which wasn't nothing back in this era. But again, a kind of a singer with, a kind of torch singer in a way. So let's listen to a little bit of Melissa Manchester's Midnight Blue, which is, I think, symbolic of much of her music. Here we go.
Think
It's a Melissa Manchester at number 9. So
Nice sound.
it's a nice sound. Yeah, and she has a terrific voice. And um, I've been I've been waiting for this because I'm really this this is one of my favorite shows from this era, and I remember this as then and now. It's still I have great affection for this. It's the Rockford Files, and at number 10, it's Mike Post's theme to the Rockford Files. And so, um, please, more about Mike Post and
Yeah. Well, this was written by Mike Post and Pete Carpenter,
yeah,
and produced by Mike Post. And as you said, it was just an upbeat, cheerful theme song
yeah.
for one of the best television shows of the 70s.
Uh, without question,
I think.
I think it's yeah, that's yeah.
James Garner, uh, oh, it's just and it doesn't really matter what he plays. He's the guy that,
Yeah.
yeah, this kind of the older brother you wish you had.
Yeah, James Gardner is always James Gardner, but it's such a comforting presence as you're suggesting. He's affable, trustworthy, maybe a little roguish, but right.
A little bit world
What's not to
weary,
like?
but
A little bit, yeah, yeah,
worn and wise.
yeah. But a terrific show. He was a private eye. He had that little dilapidated trailer in a parking lot along the beach, and all this
An
stuff. It was
answering
just,
machine,
oh yeah, it's
so that he wouldn't
that.
have to pick up for the bill collectors.
Yeah, it's one of those shows that if I can catch a rerun or something, even now, I will definitely watch it because it's just Garner's performance. And there's a lot of supporting characters that are terrific as well, but Garner really carries the show. But but this theme is so fizzy and effervescent, and it also kind of holds up. Strangely, 50 years later, it's still kind of fun to listen to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you listen to it and it brings you to that place where you're looking forward to what's going to happen now. And it's just okay, Rockford, Rockford's coming. Uh, it was released May 75, MGM Records. The song spent 4 months on the charts and became top 10 hit now, August 75. And made it to number 8 in Canada. It was also a top 20 for the adult contemporary charts in both nations. And of course, it won the 1975 Grammy Award for the Best Instrumental Arrangement.
It's Yeah, this guy, Mike Post, he has this guy has really carved out a career with these themes. And he's got dozens of themes to his name, and many of them actually were hits, pop hits, not just sort of, like kind of memorable, but like then they would be released. And um, it's an interesting lane to work in, right? Because as you think about the 70s, few things are more important than television. And television has a mass appeal, and shows that are popular on television are reaching tens of millions of Americans each week. And Rockford would be, one of the most popular shows during its run. And so people hear this damn theme on TV at the opening and the closing of the show, and then they get a kind of appetite for it. And he sold a lot of records. I mean, he sold a lot of singles, particularly in the 70s. These TV themes, very popular.
Just before we go on, um, I'd like to pick out two members of the session
Let's do, yeah.
to talk about. One of them was Tommy Morgan, who played the harmonica.
Huh, yeah, yeah.
He's considered one of the most heard harmonica players in the world because he's played in theme songs for over 500 feature films. So theme songs were his thing, and anytime they needed something for television or the movies, they'd call him up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he had a lot of work with Henry Mancini over the years. But Yeah, I mean, and if you think about the harmonica, think about instruments that are sort of ubiquitous in themes in particular. I mean, there's always like room for a harmonica. You don't hear a harmonica in other, I mean, but in themes, particularly movie and TV themes, my God, yeah, they're there
Yeah,
all the time.
uh, themes and Stevie Wonder songs.
There you go. He's not
Um,
playing on Stevie Wonder records, but I mean,
no, he's not. He's not on Stevie Wonder. But the other guy is the percussionist, the guy on drums, one Jim Gordon. I
yeah,
mean,
this is yeah, this is
yeah,
star-crossed. So yeah, so Jim Gordon, right? Of he played with everybody in the session musicians. He was also part of the Derek and the Dominos. Has a writing credit on Layla, supposedly. There's a lot of debate about this. He authored the closing coda, whatever, of the song. Jim Gordon, probably at this point was starting to really suffer. He had schizophrenia
yeah.
and would
As it turns out, misdiagnosed
misdiagnosed is right for
alcoholism to begin with.
he was done
Um,
no favors by the medical community. Yeah.
no, but a brilliant drummer, a prodigy of Hal Blaine,
Yes.
um, who
Yes.
kind
Right.
of slipped into his position as his heir apparent when Blaine uh, dropped out to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But everybody worked with him, and then he ended up, I don't know,
Well, he was convicted. He murdered his mother. Was
he
convicted
murdered
of,
his mother, uh,
and he was
quite
incarcerated then
quite brutally.
for the last decades of his life. He's passed away a couple of years ago. So Jim Gordon's uh, career is actually really short. He spent close to a third of his life, if not more, in prison.
Well, and
But
when he was up for parole, uh, he never attended those hearings, so he just stayed in jail
no. He
till
was
the end
deep.
of his life.
Yeah, he was deeply troubled and ill. And again, this misdiagnosis is, I mean, I think it borders on the criminal. The Jim Gordon story is a fascinating one because he, as you're suggesting, was incredibly talented, but is also omnipresent. He played with everything. He was, like you say, he became kind of the heir apparent to Hal Blaine.
Yeah,
And
he was everywhere.
imagine how that would have again, kind of played out had he not gotten sick because he's everywhere.
And as you
Yeah.
said, it was just for a short time, but yes, um, clearly he was in demand, and there's no reason to think that that would have stopped being the case. So
Yeah,
yeah, who knows?
yeah, it's one of the saddest stories ever, Jim Gordon,
Yeah.
for a variety of reasons. But he plays on this song.
He also plays on this song. Yeah. So
Let's listen to a little cut from theme to the Rockford Files. Um, here we go. Yeah, that's fantastic. I may have this wrong, but I think that's Lloyd Carlton on guitar. I think that's right. But
well, and Mike Post on the synthesizer.
yeah, which was I remember this at the time that there were still comparatively few songs that featured the synthesizer, put it out front in the way that this one particularly did. And so you have this kind of futuristic thing. You've also kind of got this backwoods thing happening. it's a really clever theme. So I think quite a charming and clever show. So perfect pairing.
Dan Ferguson on lead guitar, by the way.
Dan Ferguson. Fair enough. There we go. Dan Ferguson. All right. So there we have it at number 10. Mike posts theme of the Rockford Files. Let's cherry pick from a couple more in the top 40 if we could. Let's get a little proggy, shall we? So it's at number 18, it's Ambrosia's Holding On to Yesterday. So Ambrosia, four-piece unit who had Ambrosia as a group had some success in the latter part of the 1970s and early 1980s as a kind of light, oh geez, a kind of light rock group. But they cut their teeth, at least in their first two albums, really as a kind of prog rock outfit. And part of it was that they were working with the prog rock master, and that was one Alan Parsons. Alan Parsons engineered Holding On to Yesterday. He engineered the first album, the self-titled Ambrosia album. He would go on then to produce their second album. The prog rock thing, I don't think was. I don't know exactly how this plays out in terms of how they saw themselves, but they didn't have enormous success. Again, this song peaks at number 17, but it is, I think it's a kind of a beautiful number. It is co-written by David Pack and Joe Puerta. David Pack, who was kind of the voice of Ambrosia. Joe Puerta would go on to play with a number of other people, including one Bruce Hornsby, and Bruce Hornsby and the Range. Um, the other thing I would just mention about Ambrosia is that they were willing to take some chances in this era. Another song on this first album was a song called "Nice, Nice, Very Nice" with lyrics from one Kurt Vonnegut. So I don't know. I've always had a great soft spot for Ambrosia, and I've always really liked this song. And so let's listen to a little bit of Ambrosia's Holding On to Yesterday, featuring violin from Daniel Kobialka. So Ambrosia.
Well, I keep holding on to yesterday. I keep holding on enough to say that I'm wrong. I keep thinking that I'm lonely, but it's only missing you inside.
You get a little David Pack there. Again, this is Ambrosia's Holding On to Yesterday from the self-titled Ambrosia album, which in fact many would consider a hidden gem. So more about that, I think, down the road. Last song we want to talk about today is from that little old band from Texas. At number 31, it's ZZ Top with one of their classics, Tush.
Yeah, probably wouldn't be considered a prog rock number.
Probably not a prog rap, but I have to say about ZZ Top from this era, there is a certain kind of exuberance and a kind of purity and a kind of I, they are what they are, and what they do is just it's just terrific in this era.
Early ZZ Top is the best. They're fantastic. This is from their fourth album, Fandango, and the song arose out of a sound check, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's my understanding too. Yeah,
it was, but yeah, it took them about 10 minutes to write the thing because it was just more or less a jam that they then transcribed uh,
yeah,
after the fact.
essentially. I mean, it's a short little song too, just a
Yeah.
couple minutes long, right? But yeah, but there's a certain kind of there's a certain kind of just joyousness to it. That's just yeah, it's terrific.
Producer Bill Ham was released just a month earlier, July 1975, in London Records. And it peaked at number 20 on the Billboard Hot 100. number 12 on Cashbox, and number 14 on Canada's RPM chart. The song was named the 67th best hard rock song of all time by VH1. Now, I don't know about
Mm,
you. For me,
mm,
this is not
mm.
hard rock. This is Southern rock.
This is Southern rock. This is bluesy bar. I mean, this, yeah, I don't see this as hard rock either.
But
Yeah, yeah.
it's
I mean, I'd
strange
agree.
because this is not not the only people that talk about hard rock in this context. I don't see it, but that doesn't detract from the value. Um, Cashbox said that it has, quote, some slide lead guitar work that'll have them bumping their tushes from Dallas to LA, end quote. They also called the song Super Summer Dance Rock and Roll. Record
Eh,
reveals that the
okay.
song, quote, comes in a tight little hard rock package, just waiting to let loose to boogie, 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 end quote. Again, hard rock. I don't know what
I
those
don't see.
people
No,
understand.
no, it has no. It's bluesy. It's yeah, it's not hard rock. It has it's there's there are more links to. Think about this. This is the same chart that's got Jive Talkin on it, right? You've got Tush and Jive Talkin, but they're both kind of danceable numbers in a way. This one's
Yes.
odd.
Anyway, the story. Billy Gibbs says, quote, we were in Florence, Alabama. Florence, Alabama.
Florence, Alabama, makes you think,
Hmm.
doesn't it? That's the Muscle Shoals territory.
That's Muscle Shoals territory. Exactly right. Playing in a rodeo arena with a dirt floor.
Yeah, that's Muscle Shoals, all right.
We decided to play a bit in the afternoon. I hit that opening lick, and Dave Blaney, our lighting director, gave us the hand. Keep it going. Then Dusty leaned over and said, what are we going to call this thing? The Texas singer Roy Head had a flip side in 1966, Tush Hog. Down south, the word meant deluxe, plush, and a
Is
Tush
that
Hog was very deluxe. We had the riff going, Dusty fell in with the vocal, and we wrote it in 3 minutes. We had the advantage of that dual meaning of the word tush.
yeah,
It's that secret blues language, saying it
yes.
without saying it, end quote. I'm not sure how secret it is. I'm not sure how much you're not saying it, but okay. All
I didn't
right.
think it's secret at all, but I mean, but
No, it
yeah,
just seems pretty much, you know,
yeah, but okay.
on the nose. But there you go. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to listen to.
Totally
So,
agree. Yeah, so
so let's
I
do
think
that.
so with that, here's the little old band from Texas. It's Easy Top with Tush.
I've been up, I've been down. Take my word, my way round. I ain't asking for much. I said, Lord, take me downtown. I'm just looking for some touch.
Oh man, there we go. Just fantastic. That's a great way to close out August of 75. So, geez, Dave, why don't you take us home?
I'll do that. If you enjoyed this video, and we hope you did, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't yet subscribed to our channel, you can do that right here. You'll want to listen to the playlist. It's just got nothing but great stuff on it. That's right here. And you can listen to another 50 years ago this month right up here.
And we're going to include, like we do every month, a reading list of artists and producers. And in this case, I think we'll put some material in about the studios we talked about. You'll find that here. And always keep in mind that if you, Blue Sky's where the action is. And we are on Blue Sky posting new content every day. So, well, until next time, we'll see you soon.
Bye bye.